Well, here's the front leg, and what I like about it is it's got a nice sweep toward the front. Now you could build it straight and turn it on a lathe if you'd like, but you would lose this movement right here. It's very easy to make, and the joinery is easy to do. Let me show you how. First, to lay out the joint, let's measure down 3 inches from the top of the leg. That'll be the top of our dado. So I'm going to measure down 3 inches and use my marking knife. Make a little tick right there. And we're on the inside of the piece of stock. Always make sure that your marking knife is nice and sharp. Make several passes. Now, let's bring it on around, because actually both faces and both edges are affected by these 3 dados. One of the things I love about cut lines is you can see the kerf right there. You can lay your knife in it. And there is the kerf. There's my knife. Now, on the front, I'm only going to go about 1/2 inch in so that you can see on the front it doesn't cut all the way across. If you've got a dado on 4 sides, you need to start over again. All right. Well, the next thing that we need to do is to find the width of our dado. Here we are at the tenon, and I find here at these shoulders it's usually going to be just slightly thicker than in the middle. And it's better to use this measurement right here. I've got one leg of the caliper right here, and the other one I'm going to make a mark right there. And that should be the width of our tenon. So now I can lay my knife right in there. Make several passes. If you use too much pressure, then you're liable to throw your square or saddle sideways like this. All right, now we've got a good line, and we're going to chase it on around. Here we're on the outside again, so we're just going to go part of the way across. Now, what we want to do is we want to cut dados on 3 sides. But first, we've got to lay out the depth of the dado. Using our marking gauge, this is a real good way to lay out the reality of the depth of the dado. Should be somewhere around 1/2 inch. Now let's bring it over to the leg. On the outside, we can mark our depth right here. Right here. That'll give us that 1/2 inch of depth that we need. And on the sides, so we'll be able to set our depth at the table saw to to curve it out to this depth. All right. Now, on to the saw. I've got the blade set to a height of almost a 1/2 inch, but I want to be able to hit this line exactly. So what I'm going to do is make a pass and then raise it just a hair at a time till we hit our line. Well, I've got the height of the blade set correctly now, and I want to check, make sure everything looks parallel. That looks real good. Now I'm ready to cut out to each of the edges. And when I get to the edge, I'll stop the saw and set the outside tooth of the blade right on that line and then make my cut. And we'll try it out to see if it fits that tenon. This is something you just want to work through a little bit at a time. Be conservative. Don't try to be a hero. Now that's a nice fit. Now we need to cut the other two sides of our dado at the table saw. I'll show you how. Well, we know that this dado on the face side of the inside of the leg fits. And we've got to cut 2 more. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut this bottom dado on the edge until the shoulders are smooth all the way around. Flip it over, do the same thing on the top, and then I know we'll have a good fit. That's what we want, is a nice clean transition on those shoulders. And we know it's going to fit. To set up the round over at the router table, what I want to do is get all of the round over out of this 3/4 inch radius round over bit. So I want to make this outer edge level with the top of the router table. And I want to flush out this bearing back here so that it's moved as far forward as it can be and is in line with the face of the fence. Now we're ready to cut. You never can get a complete round over, and there's a little bead here, 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 and here. Now, that's where we're going to use our sanding block with stick-on 80 grit paper, and we'll smooth it out. All right, this is a pattern for the left leg, and it's very notable that it sweeps toward the front. You don't want to mess up and have a leg sweeping toward the rear. So when you lay this out, this is the left leg, and I want to make sure that the left leg sweeps toward the front. So after completing the joinery and getting a good fit, I just want to trace this out. Then I can take it to the bandsaw and cut this profile. Now, I want to be sure that as you cut this with the bandsaw that you don't get into your joint area. Maybe just pull out just a hair early. From the inside of the leg, I want to measure over 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to make a mark here, a line, that will help me lay out the offset on the inside of the leg. Just to show you what I'm talking about, this is the inside of the leg here, and here's the joinery. And so if I take 1/4 of an inch off, it gives me a little bit of room to have this offset and to curve the leg joint into the seat. This also continues on the bottom too. So here's my 1/4 of an inch setback line, and I'm just going to use my finger as a fence, and I'm going to draw a line. And when I'm bandsawing it, I'm going to come out early in that direction. But then down here, there's my 1/4 of an inch that I'm going to set it back. But then we've got to taper the leg out toward the end. And so I'm going to use a flexible ruler and lay this out. At the bottom down here, I've made a mark 1 1/4 at a 1 1/4 inch from the outside of the leg, and now I can just follow this all the way up, take it to the bandsaw, and then my leg will be the same size on all sides at the bottom. It'll be 1 1/4 of an inch square. The only new thing you need to be concerned with in bandsawing this leg out at this point is everything's fine as you go through the bandsaw following the line until you get close to the joint area, and then you want to rock it back and use this flat on the edge of the leg to pivot out of the cut. That'll make sure that when your exit line is going to be straight and perpendicular to the joint that you've cut. Well, this is the inside of the leg, and we've taken the remaining portion and we've found through making some center lines a place where they intersect. And right there we want to drill a hole for a 1/2 inch dowel. So using my friend the dowelet, we can center up and we can tighten it up. So I'm going to use my drill, a 1/2 inch brad point drill bit. I've got the old blue tape on there to let me know when I get down to 1 1/4 inch deep. Now let's do the other one, and we'll be good to go.